Okay, so I said this before, but not on a video, that Australia is not a family-friendly country. Why is Australia not a family-friendly country? Well, we were a lot of years ago, but in the last 16 years, the whole thing has changed, and the reason for that is that the government 16 years ago brought in laws that heavily restrict banks and other lenders from what they are in business to do, which is lend money. So what that really means for anyone looking for home loans, that sort of thing, the government, if the government doesn't like the home loan or the consumer loan that a lender has written, it can fine that lender or it can put that lender in jail. Yes, that's right, you can actually go to jail if you're a lender and you write a home loan or some other type of consumer loan that the government doesn't like. They can put you in jail for it. Talk about being scared just to do your job, you know. And how did this lending law come into effect 16 years ago? That was during the Rudd Labor government era. Well, the voting style that was used in the federal parliament back then indicates that the overwhelming majority of every single member of the lower house of parliament okayed the lending laws. It's actually called the Responsible Lending Conduct, which forms part of the National Consumer Credit Code Protection Act back in 20th of the 8th, 09. So, it didn't just scrape through Parliament by the skin of its teeth, it was basically waved through Parliament, and every member that was there, 151 seats, about 149 of them waved that legislation through like they were traffic controllers waving vehicles through a roadworks site. So, I have heard that some members of the LNP, the Liberal National Party, believe that they went too far with these lending laws. Okay, what are they doing about it? What are they doing to correct their mistake? Not a heck of a lot from what I've seen. And most of the people, or probably all of the people that okayed these lending laws, probably already owned their own homes, which means that they want to make it super difficult for the mum and dad Australians to buy a home. So this is the reason why I've said Australia is not a family-friendly country. The average mum and dad Australians, they just want to provide security for their family. That's fine. It's a basic thing to want to achieve. Well, according to the government, it's too much to ask for. It doesn't matter whether it's Labor, Liberal, take your pick. I really believe that if the LNP want to stand a respectable chance of winning government in 3 years' time, federally, that they need to come up with a solid policy on how to abolish the current lending laws in favour of something that is fairer and that will work for both the lender and the borrower. Because the reason why it's so hard to get a home loan in Australia right now is because the government places all of the responsibility for that loan onto the lender. The borrower takes no responsibility. So the lender is the one that can be fined or even put into prison if they write a loan that the government doesn't like. And that's happened a few times where the government, through agencies like APRA or even ASIC, they've fined lenders millions of dollars for writing what they call liar loans, or any other type of loan that the government doesn't like. It might say that the lender failed to do due diligence. It might be a one-off expense by a borrower, is all it takes to have an application declined. And they go even further to say that if you have any dependent children, each dependent child has to have a certain amount of money set aside for them by the borrower, your parents or caregivers, per month. So if you've got 3 dependent children, you've got to have $600 set aside per month for those 3 children. Now, some kids, some parents might like to go to opportunity shops or bargain days or whatever, different retail outlets. They don't, they might not have to specifically have, well, in their own books, $200. I don't think it would actually take $200 per month to look after a child, but the government has put this law through, and quite a good number of the LNP members federally support this draconian measure. It only really serves to stop good, solid borrowers from being able to be approved to buy a home. That's what it's all about. But the question, I believe, has to be asked: what is in it for a government to have its people, its population, not able to buy a home? What's in it for the government? They're going to make stamp duty revenue. They're going to make other types of revenue out of people when they buy a property. What's in it for the government to have people not be able to buy a home? But we'll have to wait and see. Now, the LNP suffered a horrible defeat at the last election just earlier this year. Now they've got 3 years to get themselves in a position where they actually deserve to take government at the next election. Although the problem there is that at the moment they've got a Republican in the leadership of the Conservative pro-monarchist party. Tell me how that works. It might as well be the head honcho of Holden driving a Ford Fairlane to work. Doesn't believe in his own product. How can a Republican, communist Republican, lead the Conservative pro-monarchist party? They're going to have beliefs that collide with their own party. But that's for them to sort out. Till next time.